Hi, and welcome to AXSchat. Delighted to welcome Richard and Mindy from Runway of Dreams today. It's really exciting to feature your topic. It's something different. It's not web accessibility. We're talking about accessibility in the way we live and in fashion. So tell us a bit about how Runway of Dreams started.
Well, Runway of Dreams started in 2013. I am a fashion designer by trade and proud mom of 3 amazing kids, and my middle child, Oliver, was born with muscular dystrophy. And at around age 8, he came home from school and said, "Mom, I want to wear jeans like my friends to school," because he really wore sweatpants out of need so that he could go to the bathroom on his own, so they fit over his leg braces. And it was really the first time I was faced with having to make a decision of whether I let him go into school wearing jeans, feeling just like the other kids, or do I tell him, "I'm sorry, honey, you can't wear jeans like the other kids." And there was absolutely no way I was letting that happen. So I quickly MacGyvered his jeans so that he'd be able to wear them to school. It was a debauchery from as a fashion designer to even look at what I did, but it allowed him to wear them to school, and he felt like $1 million. So it was really that day that I came home and I said, I can't imagine how other people are managing this who have different disabilities than Oliver has. And I made a commitment that I was going to utilize my background and bridge that gap between the differently able community and the fashion industry and make clothing wearable for all.
Fantastic. And I know that this is a huge topic. It's one that's close to home for me as well. I think that it affects a huge number of people, from especially as people age and acquire disabilities. They still want to look smart. They still want to look good. And of course, growing up as your son did, you don't want to flag up your differences. Yeah, you want to feel that you're part of that community at school. So huge props to you for doing what you're doing. Are you working with any labels?
We are. Thankfully, I utilized every last contact that I had in the fashion industry. Once I really fine-tuned our prototypes and was introduced to the CEO of Tommy Hilfiger. And actually, I had the benefit of having Richard with me in that meeting. And within the first 10 minutes, Gary, the CEO, looked at us and said, "You had me at hello. This is an unbelievable opportunity, and we are so grateful that you came to us, and we're going to help you make a difference in the fashion industry."
Fantastic. And I've actually seen some of the press pieces about the stuff you've done with Hilfiger. But Richard, also interested to understand the part that you play in this. I know you've come in and you've been in that you had played a pivotal role in that meeting, but tell us more about your role in Runway of Dreams.
Well, my role is really more to bring the disabilities perspective. I've been involved in disabilities causes for about 20-25 years, and have been lucky to build a network of people within that discipline and within that field that just some of the most incredible people, John Kemp from the Viscardi Center and so many others that are friends and colleagues and thought leaders. Mindy lives in the town that my wife and I grew up in. I read an article on Facebook about her and tracked her down through some friends. We actually met at our local diner for coffee, and I literally just walked away from that meeting and called my wife and said, "I think I just met somebody who can change the world." And I said, "Go to this website, check it out, donate a little bit of money. Let's see if we can help help Runway of Dreams." And I promised Mindy at that first meeting that I would not get involved in the board. But Mindy is too powerful of a person to say no to. So that strategy did not work. So I really am there. I'm on the board to support her in every way I can. And my role is to bring my whatever knowledge I have of the disabilities marketplace and the contacts I have within that marketplace to create these outcomes for kids with disabilities. And now we're expanding to all age spectrums, including adults. So it's really, but the driving force of this is without question Mindy Shire. She is tireless, an incredible champion. I mean, without her, we all would not be here in Runway of Dreams. So my contributions are small at that.
Mindy and Richard, I have a little bit of history with Richard. Richard was also a mentor to me and my company, Tech Access. And Richard really helped me at a time when I was really struggling with Tech Access. So I always will be grateful for Richard. And Richard reached out to me and he said, Deborah, you have got to meet Mindy. She's amazing. And introduced me to Mindy, and I was an advisor at the beginning. And I agree with Richard. It's hard to say no to Mindy. She's a beautiful woman inside and out, and she is a powerful change agent. And I know that y'all had a big gala, and Richard had said something to me. I know that Tommy Hilfiger has been, the entire organization has been very instrumental and very forward thinking about this. And I actually talked to people on Tommy Hilfiger's side to, teach them about accessibility and everything. But one thing that stuck in my mind was something, Richard, that you told me after at the gala, the amazing gala. And it was about when you did this online campaign. And I know at the beginning, everybody was worried. Mindy, you were worried that maybe the clothing line wouldn't sell out. And after the gala, I believe you tweeted me, Richard, and you told me how long it took to sell out and I don't know if I'm saying the words right, the first order, saying that correctly, but how long it took, because I think very important to note in this is this has been really good for the Tommy Hilfiger brand and the disability community. That's what we need. We need it to be a good win for everyone. So do you know what I'm talking about there, Richard or Mindy?
Yeah, Mindy, why don't you go ahead and
Sure. So as you mentioned, Deborah, and also first, let me just take a minute and say that it does take a village. I so appreciate everything that you all said, but I was a woman with an idea, and the best thing that I ever did was surround myself by brilliant people. So thank you to you both. And similar to what you just said, Deborah, was that, I could talk as much as I could about how amazing this collection is going to be and that there's a huge community out there, et cetera, et cetera. But if I didn't have the sales to back it up, it would have just been me believing. So fortunately, yes, within the first launch in February of 2016, many of the styles sold out. And that was a true testament to the enormity of the population, the fact that there is spending power there, and a true testament that this population has yet to be served by the fashion industry. So I think one of the kind of coolest statistics that came out of our first collection, actually now we've had 2 collections past that have done just as well, is that the Runway of Dreams collection with Tommy Hilfiger sold in every single state in the United States, which is, and it's even from the brand perspective, it was really the first time that something like that had happened. That it just is amazing statistic.
And also, Mindy, I believe that Richard had told me that the collection sold out. It was faster than any other online collection that had ever been done. Am I saying that right, Richard?
Well, we were in the top, I think, 5 selling items across the whole Tommy.com site, inclusive of adults and the able-bodied collection. So it really stood out very clearly to the brand how successful this is going to be.
But I will add to this to say that one of the reasons I was so excited of joining Mindy and helping in every way I can is, so many times technologies and advancements have been developed and mainstream corporations have struggled to incorporate them into their strategy. And what an amazing, without even knowing she was doing it, what an amazing opportunity Mindy brought to the table to, have a major brand jump forward. And you can't give enough credit to Gary and the team at Tommy Hilfiger for having the confidence and the thought, the strategic thought to say, let's take a shot at this. But the message is strong to other companies out there that this population is for real. It's across all age spectrums. It intermingles with, the aging in place population, which the public markets are paying a lot of attention to. So, this population has great attributes to it, and corporations need to pay more and more attention to that. Tommy Hilfiger is just an incredible leader in leaping forward. But the truth is, we, as well as they, hope that other brands and other industries will start to pay attention, because all of this is about full inclusiveness for the populations we're trying to serve, in community, in education, in the workplace. And every little hurdle we overcome helps people with disabilities become more able, if they so desire, to take advantage of these. So, we're knocking down one hurdle at a time. A big one, and for me, is employment. It's unfortunate that in this country, even with the passage of the American with Disabilities Act, that the statistics for employment has really not changed for people with disabilities since the signing of that incredible piece of law. I think it's now 25, 26 years ago, if I'm correct. And we need to change that. Technology and the great work that Mindy is doing, the great work that all of you are doing from an awareness perspective, are the things that are going to help break down those barriers. And this is one brick that has been broken down. And it's, we have to take pride in the fact that that's been accomplished. So hopefully more people will pay attention.
Agreed. And actually, just to hook into that a little bit, during the process, many people said to me, why don't you just develop your own line? You're a fashion designer, you can do it. And I said, that would be completely the opposite of the greater mission that we are trying to accomplish, which is to really mainstream the disabilities population. So if I created yet another reason for them to feel different rather than included in our, mainstream brands, that would have been completely counterintuitive. So that is, one of the reasons why it became so important to go the mainstream route rather than, creating my own collection.
I really agree, and I know Antonio's got a question for you, but I remember as a teenager being very tribal. Fashion is very tribal, and you want to dress like your peers. So I think you're absolutely spot on. Going with the brands that the kids are wearing is exactly what's going to appeal, and you're right. Otherwise, you're creating a silo for disability fashion, which needn't be. Antonio, over to you.
No, we have interviewed several people over the last 2 years on AXSchat, and we looked to the dynamic and interest around accessibility and disability around the world. So I'm actually, and we also pay careful attention about the most dynamic online markets in the world. Knowing that the UK is the most dynamic market in the world, and there's a huge impact of online sales in the UK economy. Is there any plans to have that in the shops in UK and to bring that to Europe?
Absolutely. One of our critical goals is to make sure that there's adaptive fashion for every age, for every socioeconomic background, and global, because this isn't just an issue in the United States alone, and it certainly isn't just an issue for kids. It's an issue for every age and every budget and everywhere around the world. So absolutely, our goal is to expand globally.
But I think it's important to add that the line is fully available online from a global perspective right now, right, Mindy?
No, it's available in the United States and Canada.
In the United States, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get a friend from the U.S. to buy it for you and ship it to you.
Correct. And we've had amazing emails from around the world asking how how they can get access to the clothing. So all of that is incredibly helpful because that only adds to, again, showing the need globally, everywhere, with every age.
Yeah.
And Mindy, I'm sort of jumping in without, but one thing that I saw a tweet whenever we were first introducing it and chattering about it, and before your first gala and before it really, right when it launched, and somebody said, Tommy Hilfiger, I can't afford Tommy Hilfiger. I can't believe they're doing it with brands we can't even afford. And I think a problem often in the disability community is not celebrating, and Richard, you sort of talked about this, not celebrating our successes. And Tommy Hilfiger is a brand that everyone, that, can be a brand for everyone. And I know that I like that you're talking about expanding globally, but looking at it from the socioeconomic and also understanding this is adaptive clothing is something that benefits everyone. Stylish clothing. I like, as Neil was saying, the tribes. I mean, we do, especially at certain times in our life, it's very important for us to look like our peers. So I applaud all of the efforts that you are making to think about it from all those different segments.
Absolutely. And our grand mission is to really have adaptive versions of mainstream clothing a part of a regular vernacular so that it does become the next petite department or plus size department. It's really should be viewed as a new fit in the fashion industry, and that's the adaptive fit, so that brands can embrace this from a completely inclusive lens.
Yeah.
You are working with designers, and can you was any engagement with the other designers at Tommy Hilfiger? How did they react to this change and to this type of clothing in their line?
Very well. I mean, I am constantly being sent emails from employees, actually from people that work in the factories overseas, about how for the first time in their careers in the fashion industry, they feel like they're actually doing something amazing and helpful, because, generally people will say, we're not curing cancer. We're not rocket science because we're in the fashion industry. And constantly I'm hearing, for the first time I actually feel, that I'm working towards helping people directly with the adaptive movement.
And to go to your point, Deb, I think from an industry perspective, the fact that you have such a high-profile brand leading here is very important. It sets the right tone and direction for future brands to be able to say, hey, look what they did. Had we started with a smaller unknown brand, we may not have had the same momentum. And I will tell you, I've been involved with disabilities initiatives for 20, 25 years. This is the fastest moving thing that I know of. And it's largely due towards, Mindy's undying spirit and passion for it. But, the fact that we had a high-end brand in Tommy Hilfiger jump out sets the tone for so many other brands that may not be as high priced. Because we want this, as Mindy said, to cross many brands, many price points, many age demographics, so that everybody has access to it.
No, and something that is if you look to the presence of Tommy in the main cities around the world, they are basically at the center in the city center or in the main shopping centers. They have they're in a central position. So even if you are not shopping in the Tommy Hilfiger stores, you came across their designs and they are extremely visible. So I know if you end up, when you have the opportunity to sell your products globally, you have an amazing place where people will actually be exposed to the work that you are doing.
Absolutely.
It's a powerful story. It's such a powerful story of how a major brand stepped in, and it's about inclusion, not creating a brand for those people with disabilities, but really embracing that we all are here and we all want to wear stylish clothing. And it's just, and you know what, Richard, you had said something about, and I agree with you because I love Mindy, but you had said something about Mindy's passion and all that. But I agree with what Mindy said. yes, she's passionate. She was a mother with a cause, and she was a fashion designer, but she surrounded herself, as she said, with really smart people. But I think also the world was ready for this finally. And I know that Tommy Hilfiger is a leader in a lot of ways, has done a lot of really amazing things. And I believe he also is part of our community and has a child with autism. If I've heard that, I don't know if that's true.
Correct.
So I think it's so important to have brands like Tommy Hilfiger understand that we do want to be, a consumer base that's taken seriously. So I think the world was ready for this, and it's just been so exciting to watch it unfold.
You know what I find so interesting about the Tommy Initiative is, if you're the parent of a child with a disability and you're on the website buying clothes for your child with a disability, for sure, you're going to buy clothes for your other kids. There's a brand loyalty there that I think will so benefit Tommy Hilfiger, and that's a great story. That those of us that have children with disabilities or family members with disabilities, it's a family unit. So it's not just about that child or that parent or that adult. It's about our family and our communities, and that's really the nature of inclusiveness.
Agreed.
Right.
Right. And I was a Tommy Hilfiger client, but now I'm a big consumer. And everywhere I go, when I talk about this, I always bring up his brand. So his brand has gotten a lot of real positive brand recognition for just being smart business people and including all of us. And, thank you to Mindy and Richard for your efforts. But Neil, let me turn it over to you.
Let me just interrupt a second in there, because there's an important part of the shopping experience that cannot be ignored. So when the family goes shopping Tommy Hilfiger, they're able to shop to everyone. They don't have to, now we need to go to the other shop to buy clothes for you. And that's I think I just want to talk about that because I think it's very important.
And it's an accessible shopping experience because Tommy Hilfiger made it a priority to make sure their entire website and their videos and everything were accessible. Are they perfect? Well, I don't think anybody's perfect right now, but they're a brand that is showing they care about this community and they want to make a difference. And I love the comment you made, Mindy, about, the fashion in the warehouse, and all the people saying, oh, I feel so good about being part of this. So that's exciting. Neil?
Yeah, I think that what we also saw with Nike and the Fly Ease as well was that people really buy into this innovation around the clothing as well. So the Fly Ease were designed again for being able to get on and off because of a disability, but other people are looking at these and going, I want those. Mm-hmm. I think that when you move into mainstream brands like this, it's really important. As we've already discussed, but in not just brands, but mainstream type of clothing as well. Because as you talked about, your son went from wearing sweatpants to wearing day-to-day fashion items, and I think as you look to the grey market, and I'm not talking about grey imports and exports here of your clothes, which I'm sure are happening because people can't buy them outside of the States yet. Take note, Tommy. But I'm talking about the senior market. Then again, people want to buy clothes that flatter them, that don't make them look like they are the only things that they can wear. So for instance, people with mobility problems like my relatives will want to wear stuff that they can get on and off easily, but yet still have some kind of dignity. Because at the moment you have some kind of toss-up between, well, I'm going to have ease of use or be in a situation where I may end up uncomfortable or putting myself in some kind of awkward situation, which no one wants. And what I love about adaptive clothing, things like the magnetic shirts, which I kind of want for myself, to be honest. If I'm lazy in the morning, just go, oh, I'm dressed.
Friend. How cool would that be? That something that was created for the disabled community becomes a fashion trend. I will tell you that the first time we had a big kind of party at our house when we launched the collection, and we were showing all of Oliver's friends the shirts and everything, and they all looked at their parents and they're like, sign me up. If I never have to do it again, fabulous. So I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, eventually a trend like that led to, you know, the mainstream marketing again, that leads to inclusivity, right? It doesn't have to be people with disabilities that would enjoy wearing a shirt with magnets down the front.
I also think that it's just like captioning. We created captioning for people that were deaf and hard of hearing, and now all of society uses captioning. And we know that adaptive clothing is blending into the wearable clothing market. So it's all very exciting. Another thing, and I just want to, I don't want to forget to say this, Richard, you had mentioned John Kemp, another very dear friend of mine as well. And we were very fortunate to interview John Kemp on AXSchat. So he's a leader that we have highlighted because we believe in his work and the amazing work he's doing at the Scardy Center. But one thing that I just want to make sure that we talk about is, so Mindy, tell us about the models.
The model?
I love that part.
Yes. So one of the pillars of Runway of Dreams will always be our authenticity. So everything that we have created, all the modifications, everything behind it came from the community through focus groups and surveys and conversations. And so therefore, that has to remain through the advertising, marketing of it, to customer service, which I know Richard hit on a little bit about including this population into every aspect of it. So the models for sure have to be disabled and very different types of disabilities. So I'm excited to say that we've built an amazing portfolio of models of all ages, of all different disabilities, globally, actually, that are so excited to be front and center, to be proud of who they are and what they look like, and that they are a part of something mainstream. So it has been probably one of the most inspirational parts of the whole mission, has been being able to see the change that this has made in the kids and young adults that have been a part of the modeling or the focus group sessions, and really adding to getting to where we are now with complete authenticity. It's something that we will always remain true to.
It's very exciting. I know that we're going to talk, we'll put bio and information out on AXSchat along with the questions, but just tell anybody that's listening to the video real quick, and then we can close, how they find out more about Runway of Dreams. So what's the website?
Absolutely. So it's runwayofdreams.org. And certainly anyone can email us directly at info@runwayofdreams.org. Again, we welcome thoughts, comments, suggestions, because that's how we grow and learn. I only knew what I knew from my world with Oliver. I learned everything else from the community.
Right. Well, Mindy, thank you, and Richard, for changing the world.
Thank you so much.
Well, I adore both of you, and I know that Neil and Antonio really were excited about this interview too. And Neil has our Bonbon is our mascot, so we'll let everybody see Bonbon before we go. But thank you both.
He was pestering me. He was under the table, and he wouldn't be bribed. You know, the amount of food that I've just given him in the last half an hour. It's not going to be good for his waistline.
He wants some of the adaptive clothing too. So
I'm working on it, Bonbon. Dogs are next.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I also just wanted to add to Mindy's thank you. You guys, the work that you do to help get the word out about the incredible causes that are going on around the world. Just thank you guys for everything you're doing, the incredible contribution to the communities that you're enabling.
Couldn't agree more.
thank you.
Thank you. All pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, talk to everybody later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.